Well, hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Book Talk Tuesdays. I'm Miss Jessica, and I'm one of the youth librarians at the Chelsea District Library. And this is our video show all about great books for independent readers ages 8 to 12. And as you can see, I have a very special guest here with me today who most of you will probably recognize.
What? You would know me? I'm Miss Edith from the library. Hooray!
Yeah, and I have Miss Edith here with me today because we are talking all about brand new graphic novels. And Miss Edith is the queen of graphic novels. So she's super excited to share some special choices with us today. But first, she has a really, really cool program she wants to talk to you all about.
All right, everyone. I hope you're sitting down because I have amazing news for you. If you are really into graphic novels and doodling and drawing, I have an amazing new program for you coming up in October, which is also known in the comic world as Inktober. It is a time when artists get together and doodle daily, and there are prompts every day. Well, guess what? We're going to be sharing those prompts with you, and we have the great artist Ted Woods, who will be presenting once a week a sort of fireside chat where he's going to doodle and you're going to doodle at the same time, and it's going to be on Facebook Live. We'll give you all the details in the newsletter coming up, as well as on a special website we'll be opening soon. So that is something to really stay tuned for. It's not something you have to sign up for. It's something that you can just jump in and participate with. So it should be a lot of fun. I look forward to doing it with you. Lots of prompts. I might be making a ninja behind a rock. That's my favorite, actually. I draw ninjas behind rocks really well.
That sounds so much fun, Miss Edith. Can you tell me what dates the fireside chats are going to be?
I believe they're going to be every Monday in October.
Oh, so that is coming up pretty soon. So I will link the Kids Read Comics website at the end of this video so that you can check it out and get all the details and put those dates on your calendars. Okay?
Fantastic.
All right. So on to our book talks for today. So like I said, we're doing graphic novels. And I happen to have found some graphics that are all based on chapter book series, because that's my area. That's what I love best, is chapter books. And Miss Edith helped me find some that are based on chapter book series. So the first one I have for you, I'm so excited about this, you guys. It's going to blow your minds. They're making the I Survived series into graphic novels. And there have been 2 released already. So I got to read I Survived the Sinking of the Titanic, 1912, and it was amazing. It starts in medias res, which is a Latin term that means in the middle of things. So it dumps you right into the middle of the action, and the action is a little bit terrifying. It starts with a page with a date on it, and it's the middle of the night between Sunday and Monday. Right as the Titanic is sinking, it's already hit the iceberg, it's going down. And our main character, George, he's on the deck of the Titanic. It has split in half and it's starting to slide. So the part where it broke is going up and passengers are going into the water, including George. He's hanging onto the railing for dear life, and he has to let go. He cannot hang on a second longer. And the images show him sliding into the deep, dark water, and it all goes black. Then you turn the page and it flashes back to about 19 hours earlier, so the morning of the Sunday, and he's just living on the ship. He's there with his younger sister Phoebe and their Aunt Daisy, and it kind of goes back through just sort of what his days have been like on the boat as they travel across the ocean. So George loves adventure and he loves exploring the ship. He's gotten in trouble a few times. He might have slid down the grand staircase and run right into a very, very rich woman just dripping in diamond jewelry. That was not so great. He actually ends up in the middle of the night, he sneaks out of their room and goes to explore the baggage area. And that's where he is when he hears this huge rumble and the ship shudders. And then it goes eerily quiet because the engines have hit. He gets back up to the decks. The first class passengers are playing with snow and ice. They're having a snowball fight, but George knows something is not right. I'm not going to tell you anything else. We already know he falls into the water a few hours later. So you're going to have to check this one out and see what happens to George, see if Phoebe and Aunt Daisy make it off the boat. It was intense. What I loved about this book as a graphic novel is that so much of the story and the intensity of the feelings is really shown through the imagery. There's not a ton of text on each page. Sometimes when you read comics or graphic novels, there's so much text in the dialogue bubbles that it's really hard to read because it's all scrunched in there. But this is nice big glossy pages, and I felt like it was a great format for these stories. So I'm really excited to see the rest of the series too.
Wow, I'm really excited to read it as well. I mean, there's blood, you guys. I was reading through the shark attack one, and it was pretty intense, and there weren't actually a lot of words, so it's a super fast read.
Yeah, really fast.
Looking forward to it. I've got Chad Sell's Doodleville here right now. So some of you may have read Chad Sell's first book, which blasted onto the shelves, called Cardboard Kingdom. And
that is so good.
It is just delightful about a neighborhood of kids who get together and create the most amazing summertime experience, basically. Everybody literally creates their own character out of cardboard. Well, in this case, in Doodleville, my immediate thought was, oh, is this a sequel? No, it's a completely new book. And it's completely new characters. So I was really excited. I was like, wow, a whole new set of people to make friends with. Because this group of people are really into doodling. So instead of cardboard, we're drawing on paper. But our main character is so just delightful. Her name is Drew. And she loves doodling. She's created all of her own special characters, but the characters have literally a life of their own. They escape the pages and get into all kinds of trouble. I mean, it tends to be good trouble, innocent trouble. But one day she visits a museum and she takes her notebook with her. One of the characters comes home with a hat. And that really kind of sets off a lot of trouble for our main character. And she confronts so many things about herself in this story that it's got this incredible emotion behind it, where she's grappling not only with the consequences of her character's actions, but the consequences of her own actions and how that's impacting her relationship with her friends and how they respond to her. So it's like it draws together, all sorts of concepts and ideas. And Chad Sell's drawings, as you know from Cardboard Kingdom, all of the characters are just beautifully done. Everyone's super, I would say, I won't call it Raina Telgemeier-esque, but I'm going to say they're soft and sweet and kind, but then things get creepy and scary. So
that's a little too scary for me.
Okay, well, so there's a lot going on. I just love Doodleville. I don't want to give away too much about what's going on in the storyline because everything sort of draws together. And if I give away too much, would you really want to? I don't know. You might want to read it anyway, but I'm very excited about this title. I think it might be the first book in a series. I'm not going to guarantee this, but at the very end, there is a line. I'm not giving away here.
That definitely sounds like it could be the start of a series. We'll have to look into that. Maybe I can look it up and see if there will be information from the publisher about that too. So my second book, my second graphic novel I want to talk about, again, this is another one based off of a chapter book series. You might have heard about an older series called Babysitters Club that recently, over the past 2 years, has been turned into kind of like a best-selling graphic novel series. Well, guess what? Now they are turning the Babysitter's Little Sister series into graphic novels as well. I am so excited. Yes, Miss Edith. I thought Miss Edith had that book. I was looking for it at the library. So I got a sneak peek a few days ago at Babysitter's Little Sister. I looked through the first one in the series called Karen's Witch. And Karen is the little sister. She's 6 years old, and she is Christy Thomas's younger half sibling. So Karen's parents are divorced, so she spends half her time at the small house with her mom. There she is. And half her time at the big house with her dad, who has a large blended family, including Christy. She loves being at the big house because there's always siblings around. There's always something to do, but she gets in trouble sometimes. She likes to spy on the neighbors a little bit. And one neighbor in particular who lives in this creepy old Victorian mansion. It's really dark. You just saw how bright and bubbly the illustrations are in this book. Well, the mansion that her neighbor lives in is the exact opposite of that. It's gray and dark and kind of spooky looking. And she nicknames her neighbor Morbida Destiny, and she is absolutely convinced that Morbida is a witch, that she casts spells, and that she is up to no good. I don't want to give away too much. Just know that there's some spying and snooping that happens in this book. I think that this series, just like the original chapter book series, is great for kids who maybe aren't quite ready for the teenager adventures of the regular Babysitters Club book, but are really interested in graphic novels and want to check them out. So if you're just starting chapter books for the first time, I think this would be a great graphic novel series to start as well. Just like the I Survived books, there's not a ton of text on each page, and the illustrations are really inviting and beautiful to look at too.
I would definitely agree. I think this is just a charming addition to the Babysitters Club series. You're just introduced to lots of new fun adventures that you can enjoy and reread, in my opinion. So to segue into the adventures of kids snooping around and getting in trouble, I have Astra and the Accidental Magic, which is by Tom Pico. I love the illustration style. I'm trying to say it's super cartoony, which is very similar to Babysitters Little Sister, but a little bit more stylized. Astra and the Accidental Magic is definitely something akin to like, oh, I've made a terrible mistake and now I have to figure out how to get out of it. Our main character has been stuck in the woods with her family and she's so bored and she wants the internet and But then she's out in the woods and she discovers this weird alien creature that grants her a wish. And let's just say it goes terribly, terribly wrong. I don't know if I should go into detail so much, but there's just a lot... There's a lot of adorable hijinks that occur, and our main character comes upon this really grouchy lady, and it's just they get into all sorts of trouble. You have to be a fan of basically silly humor, and you have to be a fan of cartoony comics. But I think you're going to dive deeply into this story and enjoy it. That's how I'm going to put it.
All right. So the last book I have to talk about today is technically not a graphic novel. It is a highly, highly illustrated chapter book. So that means that there are drawings on almost every single page. So it feels a lot like a graphic novel. And if you like graphics, I think that you will love this series too. It's actually kind of a double hitter. Besides being an illustrated chapter book, it features a character you probably know and love a ton. Jeff Kinney has branched out and started a new series about the Wimpy Kids best friend, Rowley Jefferson. The first book in the series came out last year, and it's called The Diary of an Awesome Friendly Kid. Because as we know, Rowley is a super, super great friend to Greg, who's sometimes not so nice back to him. So Rowley is actually my favorite character in the Wimpy Kid books. And I got to read the second book in the series. It's Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Adventure. And just like the I Survived book, it starts in Maybe Race again, which actually confused me at first. It jumped right into a story that Rowley is writing. So the very first chapter of the book, there's no introduction or anything, is actually a fantasy story that Rowley's writing. And then it jumps back and is more in the style of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where it's like the lined notebook pages that Rowley is sort of narrating his life, just like a diary. So this fantasy book that Rowley's writing shows the first chapter to his mom. She loves it. He shows the first chapter to Greg. He has some suggestions. So he has some writing suggestions for Rowley. And finally, Rowley says, why don't I work on the writing and you work on this whole publishing idea and merchandising idea you have, and we'll split the profits 50-50. So I don't want to go too far into it, but that's kind of the setup of it. So the book alternates between the chapters of the story that Rowley is writing and chapters that are like his diary. So you can see both the story and how his plan with Greg is actually working out. Not so great, I'll tell you that. So I think that this is a great book if you are a fan of a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but wonder why you never get to hear much from Rowley. Now you do. Or if you like graphic novels, but are just interested in something that it feels a little bit more like a chapter book, this is great for you too.
Yes, and I believe that it's still written in that laugh-a-minute style. So.
Yeah, it's super, super funny. And the story that Rowley is writing within this book has some awfully familiar sounding characters as well.
I have actually another series that probably is not well known to you, so I'm really excited to introduce it to you. We are, again, starting with the second book. I'm introducing you to the second book in the series, which is why I'm going to tell you at the outset. The book you should be checking out first is called Sea Sirens, and the second book is called Sky Island.
That cover is beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
So you got here a completely different style of drawing than the other super cartoony styles that I've been showing you before this. This title has a very artistic design. All of the pages are really beautifully drawn with lots of detail. And the important thing to note here is that Amy Chu and Janet K. Lee really envisioned this as the Wizard of Oz. That's kind of the feel of our main character's experience, being transported to another world and being introduced to new wonderful friends. So the first book, Sea Sirens, is all about her finding this world underwater and solving a huge problem that these underworld people are having, these mermaids. Our storyline here takes us right into the thick of a new adventure. Our main character has this wonderful cat, and this cat has one eye. So some of you may have cats at home that only have one eye. This one does. And his name is Captain Bill. And he talks, though only to certain people. So if you like talking cats, this is really cute. But our main characters are returning to their mermaid land and discovering that a very important character in the story, Merla, has been kidnapped. And
just like Ozma in the Oz books, right?
That's exactly right. So Merla has been kidnapped, and it takes them to a magical place, like a beautiful island, and there's a family connection to it, a family history to this Sky Island, which the aquarium on it is something else. I'm not going to go into detail, but this is a great adventure. You get a beautiful, happy ending at the end. It's just a lot of fun to read.
That sounds amazing. I am not always a fan of fantasy, but that just sounds beautiful, especially with that illustration style too, and Captain Phil.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Edith, for sharing some new graphic novels with me today. I hope everyone heard about something that they'd like to check out from the library. If you want to put something on hold for curbside pickup, you can email the librarians at ref, R-E-F, at chelseadistrictlibrary.org, or you can give us a call at 734-475-8732, extension 219, and we'll help you put those items on hold. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.